Hi, my name is Nick Patel. I'm the CEO and founder of Clinq Gold. What are my predictions for 2023? Well, certainly, I believe there's going to be a good movement in the crypto industry before the end of 23.
All right, guys. Welcome here to DAPPS Center. I'm very excited to have Nick Patel, the CEO and founder of Clinq Gold. How you doing, Nick? Appreciate you being here on the channel. I want to go ahead and just, tell us about yourself, introduce yourself, and tell us about your position with Clinq Gold.
Hey, I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for obviously getting me on here. Let me tell you a little bit about Clinq Gold and myself. I've actually been in the gold industry for coming up to almost 25 years. I started back in 98 as a stockbroker in London. My specialty was actually minerals and mines. After that, I was headhunted to work for an office, family office that was dealing primarily in their own funds. But my job again was to look at mines, look at opportunities, whether they were in Africa, in South America, pick up mines that were undervalued, and then flip them not only on the American stock exchanges, but also those in Canada, the TSX. We had a lot of success over there. And we flipped some mines, obviously, in the UK, in Europe as well. My previous company, before I launched Clinq Gold, Bank of Bullion, was launched in 2016. And, the Bank of Bullion has grown at an exponential rate. We started with a very measly, between myself and my partner, $100,000. Today we're supplying almost 150 kg of gold, physical gold, every day. Our daily turnover has grown from that $100,000 that we used to actually rotate that per day as well, but it's now around 7 mil USD per day. So we buy the physical metal, we source the physical metal, we sell it on to the burgeoning markets of India, Singapore, Turkey, and until not so long ago, Hong Kong was one of our biggest buyers. In 2021, Clinq Gold was incorporated and born. In the last 18 months, almost 2 years since it's been around, we've done quite a large number of sales. We relied on a lot of our clients that were already in the gold, so international clients. So with around 100 clients, we've turned over in excess of 300 million US, while we were bootstrapping the project and making sure the back end works, making sure because first our original contracts were on Ethereum. We've now moved to Binance. We've done the bootstrapping. We've proved the concept works. We turned a profit during that time. And it brought us to this conversation today. So we're hot to trot.
That's awesome. I'm super excited to hear about this. I'm a fan of crypto and I'm a fan of gold, and you just got both wonders mixed together. It's going to be very exciting. So tell me about the team. Who do you have working on the team? Who's behind the project?
Okay, so we have our main guy, our CTO, the Chief Technical Officer. His name is Roman Semko, Semko. He's been, in the industry around 20 years, a lot of experience in IT and, more importantly, the financial industry, which gives him a lot of leeway because, with gold, there's a lot of background that you need to understand. Most people just think, it's a kilo bar, it's broken up into 1,000 pieces, you get a gram. But if you look at it as a technology, we're effectively digitizing mankind's oldest asset. How do you digitize it? We have to then talk about not just grams, but micrograms and breaking that down into odd numbered pieces. So, there's a lot of tech complications in the back, but there also has to be the physical replication. So we have to understand, if an order comes in for 1.4 grams, where we buy that 1.4, how we adjust it in our vault. It takes it's good that he's come with a financial background as well. Apart from that, he was the winner of Samsung Mobile Development Challenge. He's a very strong, well-developed CTO with a lot of experience. And to be fair, I was very lucky in sourcing him. So that's our main guy. Apart from that, we have One of my business partners from the Bank of Bullion, his name's Chaitanya Shah. Chaitanya was incremental in not only setting up the Bank of Bullion, which I would say is the parent or the mother behind the driving success of Clinq Gold, because I've seen in the industry a lot of people have tried to launch gold-backed stable coins, gold-backed coins. They're using all these complicated algorithms. They want to buy have a company in the US like New York. They're buying metal from LBMA in London, which is the most expensive, by the way, in the world. And the economics I find very funny. So Chaitanya Shah, I actually, before we incorporated the Bank of Bullion, he was working for one of the biggest bullion dealers out of here in Dubai. We got together, we decided that, probably we can do something a lot better with my experience and his contacts within the UAE. And that's how it was born. So he heads up the procurement of the physical metal. We have contacts not only across the UAE, but we get a lot of our metal from Africa. And as you'd imagine, we get a sufficient discount to be able to offer the same gold at spot rate, which is the international buying rate globally. Hence the reason we're able to supply so much metal on a daily basis. One of my other team members, his name is Nilesh Khaitan. Nilesh used to be the, he basically oversaw Venmo and PayPal's crypto divisions. Built that up to, I believe, 75 million users while he was there. Now he believes, certainly we have a very similar agenda. I believe the future of digital payments, digital currencies, and more importantly, a currency that is supported by something real in the background, that is not volatile, and it can handle large volume of daily transactions, and it's trustworthy. We can't print any more gold, so whatever's in the vault is going to be available. And we met a couple of years back, actually, while he was traveling, through some mutual friends. And we decided to start working together from the very start and make sure that we saw this project through. And we also have Lewis. Lewis is the CEO and founder of Digitalia. He's been on board for about a year and a half, and his expertise lies in digitizing, all sort of hardback books, which are now being used across North America and South America by universities. All the top tier universities across North America and South America. So that's kind of our core team.
Awesome. Amazing. Sounds like we got a very solid team here working on the project. So let's hear more about the project. Tell us more about Clinq Gold. What is it all about?
So to put it simply, the term I always use is we have digitized mankind's oldest asset. The first introduction of payments over tens of thousands of years ago, we always used gold as a barter system, whether it was gold, silver, copper. Later on, over the last few hundred years, in the last probably 400 or 500 years, we moved from gold as an actual currency, we moved into paper currency, better known as fiat. Now, in 1971, when Nixon was then the president of the US, of the United States of America, they disbanded the system. They broke the Bretton Woods Agreement, the Bretton Woods system, which effectively meant every dollar printed was backed by 1 gram of gold. In doing so, what they have created in the last 50 years, I believe it's 72 or 71, in the last 50 years, the US has been able to print money unchecked. So effectively, what you now have is a promissory note from the USA government and many, many countries across the world. I'm just giving the US as an example, where they're allowed to print money, but they have nothing physical back in it. So the idea that money should have something backed, and if you're buying or you're taking a piece of paper from the government, they're giving you a promise, but that promise has gone unchecked for the last 50 years with no printing. With that in mind, Clinq Gold offers you a 100% backed token. We have one of the most secure vaults globally. DMCC, which is the Dubai Multi Commodity Center, has inside of one of their towers, Almas Tower, the most secure center where they hold the vault. The vault is actually outsourced to Brinks. Brinks is the oldest security company in the world. well over 100 years of history, tens of thousands of staff globally. And yeah, so we have a separate vault holding that exact replica of physical gold. So if somebody buys, let's say, $100,000 worth of our Clinq Gold tokens, within a very short period of time, it normally takes us around 24 to 48 hours, we can back that by the same amount of gold in our vault. Now, you don't do it instantaneously because there's a process of having the funds come from an exchange, or if they come through the site. So there's that timing process of making sure that we replicate the same in the vault. One final thing I should mention also is while we're doing some seed funding, we actually already pre-funded and put 100 kg in the vault, which effectively is around $7 million worth of gold ready to deploy, and it's ready to go.
Wow, that's amazing. So, wow, that's fabulous. So tell me, how can I earn money off of this? You know, what can you do with your token? Is it already available, and is it tradable?
So we have a couple of facets. Apart from our CGT token, the Clinq Gold token, which is 100% pegged by 24 karat gold. Now, this token, it's actually pegged to the price of 1 gram per gold. Now, if the price of gold goes up 1%, 2%, 5% per annum, then that's the only capital appreciation you'll get on that product. If the price of gold goes down, yeah, it's pegged to the price of gold. But I would use it more as a stable coin to, perhaps challenge the likes of USDT or others, or other stable coins. And if you feel like, the company doesn't, or it's not able to show you their audit, it's not able to clearly show you where the money is, that, if they're worth 30 billion, 40 billion, and, they've gone unchecked for whatever reason, you need to know that money's either in the bank or it's in something, not in an algorithm, not in some complicated structure, not being used in leverage trades in the background. People need to keep it simple, like money was supposed to be. We have a second token, which is the Clinq share token. Effectively, this token gives you an underlying share in the company, like like an ICO, if you want to call it. Like, back in the days we used to do IPOs. In the same way, this would be an ICO. So you're effectively buying into the underlying company of Clinq Gold. We actually did launch our 2 billion shares at 5 cents. Currently, they were trading on PancakeSwap, I believe, at around 9.7 or something like that. Wow. But yeah, we hope, this is the start. There's a lot of news flow coming out. And, I believe we'll never print more than, or issue more than 2 billion tokens, because that's the full allocation. But we're hoping someday that's going to be worth a fortune.
Wow, amazing. So what partnerships do you have in line? You got partnerships that you could highlight?
Sure. So we obviously have the partnership with Brinks holding our vault. Apart from that, even though I'm the CEO and founder of Bank of Bullion, we had to make an agreement also with the Bank of Bullion, because effectively we needed one of the most trustworthy and reliable sources of gold. And like I said, we're one of the, I'd say, top 5 players in terms of physical metal, not only in the UAE, but many other countries as well. And if you consider gold, if you just take it by volume, there's only 200,000 tons in the world. If I can put that into a metric that you can visualize, it's around 1.5 A380 Airbuses, or just under 2 Olympic swimming pools.
Wow.
It's not a lot of gold.
Wow.
It's not a lot. So you've got to be, if you're going to create a system where people can buy it globally, you better have a good source, and you better be able to get it at the right price to be able to offer it at the market price without charging a premium. That's the trick. Recently, we also signed a deal with the United African Blockchain Association. Now, just to put this into perspective, this could be absolutely massive. The United African Blockchain Association, they're a non-profit organization that their sole agenda is to educate the African continent on blockchain. Now, they have over 320,000 actively registered blockchain educated users on their system. our deal with them is, as we're actually planning a launch in Zambia on the 14th of April. But step one of that is to bring on 30,000 of their blockchain users, have them use our system to start making payments for goods and services across Zambia. So our target is 30 to 40,000 leading up to the 14th of April. We're actually doing a presentation at the University of Zambia, so we'll probably get another 5,000 students on top of the original UABA numbers. But ideally, by the end of the year, we're looking to capitalize on all 300,000 users. So that'll be 300,000 active CGT or Clinq Gold users using our system to make payments across the African continent.
Wow. When can we expect this to be fully released? Can you share with us where you're at in the moments in terms of development?
So in terms of development, we've deployed the contract on Binance. We have, I'd say we're 80% in terms of the changing of the infrastructure. The reason for that is we've added a couple of new layers inside in terms of gamifying it, if you want to calling that. So we've introduced this concept to bring on new users, and those guys that are perhaps more used to, I'd say, the millennials that are interested in earning from this. So what we've introduced is the concept of the greedy banker. The greedy banker, he turns up in multiple locations like Pokemon. In the same way Pokemon can turn up into any geolocation. And in this vein, when he turns up in a specific location near your phone, you can throw at him some of your CGT tokens. It'll be a slight fraction proportionate to how much you're holding. And if you can hit him, he'll obviously regurgitate the coins he's holding. You'll be a winner and you'll be able to take the gold tokens and redeem them. If you lose that token. He'll move on to another location and somebody else will have a go at him. Now, there won't just be one fat banker. There'll be a load of greedy bankers, sorry, not fat banker, but there'll be a load of them in different geolocations. So where we're piloting in Zambia, there'll probably be, between 5 and 10 in shops and in stores. So the idea is not only do the people using CGT benefit, but also the retailer should benefit, because I could put one inside his store. Suddenly he's got 100 students from the from the University of Zambia going to his store looking for the greedy banker. While they're in there, they might buy a can of Coke, they'll buy a bottle of water. So the idea is to create traffic in a twofold manner and make sure that everyone gets to see what it's about. And hopefully that should encourage a lot more retailers to come on board, because at the end of the day, more people want traffic in their shops. They want to be able to pay for goods and services with a reliable system.
All right, gotcha. So what do you got coming soon on the roadmap? Anything exciting here in the near future?
Yeah, we're doing the official launch on the 14th of April in Zambia. That'll be our first pilot test, but the system will be actually available by the 1st of April. In terms of buying into the shares or the Clinq share token, that's already available. We will give announcements both on Telegram, Discord, Twitter, where we can, sort of feed in and let people whitelist for anything else coming up in the future. But in terms of user interface, everything will be ready for the 1st of April.
Wow, amazing. So is there a guarantee of asset coverage?
Yes. So we have 2 layers, in fact, 3 layers of asset coverage. We are already using a UAE approved, government approved auditor, but the plan is to probably up the ante. At the end of the day, nobody wants a auditor that is not heard of. And myself, I'd question the same. Why are we, okay, he's a government approved auditor, great, but I've never heard of him. So yeah, we're probably going to have to deal with the big 3, whether it's a PwC, Anderson. For me, it gives me also that satisfaction that if somebody asks, are you using a top 3 auditor? Answer is yes. And right now, every single gram of gold in our vault is already audited. And we provide the audits monthly, which will be available on our website. And obviously, you can call the auditor directly. That's the second option. But the third tier or the other layer of security is the gold is in a vault that is owned by Brinks. So it's not my personal vault. I don't have access. I have to call the auditor, let's say one of the top 3 auditors, I then have to make the appointment with Brinks. And then if the client, Bank of Bullion, who's a procurement division as well, there's 4 different people that have to agree on not only depositing the gold, but also in bringing the gold out to sell it. So in terms of auditing, I think we're pretty much covered.
Well, that actually answered my second question in regards to that. So it sounds like you already have audits in place. All right. So are these third-party audits? How does that work?
So what they normally would do, the auditing process is relatively straightforward. So if we receive, say, $1 million from a client, that $1 million comes into via crypto or fiat. It goes into a company account where it's then used for the purchase of physical metal. So that's one transaction. To do that one transaction, an auditor already has to see the process of the funds coming in, because we'll have to KYC the client. There'll be, the AML regular KYC checks, whichever direction he comes from. That information actually has to be uploaded into the United Arab Emirates centralized system, because any transaction over, give or take, around $12,000 is all monitored. So all of that process will have to take place before we buy the physical metal, and the only person that can sign off on all those transactions is the auditor. Apart from that, the transaction or the smart contract is on Binance, so there's that layer of security. But the final part of the audit is the actual movement of the physical metal. So there is an invoice to show the physical purchase of the metal. There is a deposit receipt that it's been deposited in the Brinks vault. So the amount of cash coming in to the purchase, to the deposit in the vault, all gets audited. And every process is managed not just by one person. It's like a multi-sig verification, if you want to, but not a digital, but a real multi-sig verification.
I think auditing is going to be very important for this in particular, because it's going to be, you're really relying on the trust there, make sure all the assets are backed and so forth. So that's definitely good to hear. So I do have another question, last question here. Tell me about the CG tokens. Can people actually exchange the CGT token for gold?
Sure. CGT, the Clinq gold token, can be exchanged for gold, but because of the economics, if, for instance, if I had to send 1 kilo to the US, it's not economically viable to fly 1 kg of gold into the USA. Why? Because there's taxes, there's import duties, and there's probably other things, flight costs and all the rest of it associated. Now, it doesn't mean to say it's not possible. It's just not economical. If a client wants to redeem it while he's sitting over here where our vault is in Dubai, it makes the transaction very simple. We have a physical office, is more than welcome to actually physically come to our office and take that metal. But if any client has a large transaction, I would say at least in volume, it need to be around 10 kilos and upwards to make it economically viable to have it shipped to anywhere in the world. And certainly, if there's a shipment cost or import duties, that would most certainly fall on the client, because it's a request on his side. But to answer your question, yes, it's possible. Is it economically viable going to certain countries? Probably not. And I'd say 99.9% of clients will probably not actually want the physical metal. And this is why, perhaps if you look at the whole structure, digitizing mankind's oldest asset, that's why it works, right? Because that's what you're doing. You're providing the exact replication of physical metal, stored, audited, and vaulted, so you don't have to take that hassle in your house and in your vault.
Gotcha. Well, there you have it, folks. We got Nick Patel here with Clinq Gold, and we want to appreciate you. Thank you for being on our channel, telling us everything about Clinq Gold. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the audience here for us before we get off here and conclude our AMA?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, guys, our main focus is to provide a service which is reliable, trustworthy, and dependable. At the end of the day, there's many stable coins in the circulation as it stands. Some of them have done really, very bad things that haven't helped the crypto scenario and probably caused a bit of a winter in 22 and earlier. Our project is very simple. We're taking the oldest asset mankind has dealt with, making it digitally available, and making sure you have full control of your asset. It's easily traceable, transferable, and reliable. So yeah, give us your support. Follow us on social media. I'm sure we'll have the relevant names tagged across this YouTube or whatever, wherever we are, it'll be there. And,
yes, all the links, guys, all the links will be down in the description. So join their social medias, join their channels, stay up to date. And we got big news, looking very forward to the full release here in April. So very excited. And Nick, thank you again for being on the channel.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
All right, then. Adios. Thank you guys all for tuning in. We will see you guys on the next one. Peace.